The new era of Yu-Gi-Oh is upon us, a whole new generation of exciting archetypes and a continued legacy of some older archetypes too. And with it is the introduction of a brand new set. What's goody with you all today? My name is RayGVT, and today I am so excited to bring you a set analysis of the new and upcoming set, Duelist Nexus. Duelist Nexus is bringing us some great support to one of my favorite decks since I started playing this game, Stardust, and Synchro support in general. But beyond that, Duelist Nexus is also bringing us some amazing support for a number of other different archetypes, as well as giving us an all-new archetype, the Testina archetype. Now, we're gonna do what we do with these set analysis vids and take a look at some of the main support being given to us, this time being the new Synchro support stuff. But I also want to dive into a few other archetype support cards afterwards because, again, there's a lot of really cool new stuff that we're getting for some archetypes that I'm really interested in. So, let's get started. 5D's fans rejoice. Up first on the list is Wheel Synchron, and first of all, yes, the whole you say dual runner is just... yes. This is a level 5 light attribute machine tuner that reads, if this card you control is used as synchro material, you can treat it as a non-tuner. You can only use each of the following effects of Wheel Synchron once per turn. During your main phase, you can immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon one level 4 or lower monster. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn, except synchro monsters. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one synchro monster you control. Reduce its level by 4. So, this isn't too bad. Essentially, this card locks you into only special summoning synchro monsters from the extra deck if you use its first effect. And then immediately afterwards, you can normal summon a level 4 or lower monster, which is very nice. Additionally, once it lands in your graveyard, you can banish it to reduce the level of a synchro monster you control by 4. This is a really good effect for synchro climbing and for building into your big ACCEL synchros. Not a bad start at all. Now, following up, we have Baby Power Tool Dragon. Revolution Synchron is a level 3 Earth attribute machine tuner that reads, if you synchro summon a Power Tool monster or a level 7 or 8 dragon monster, this card in your hand can also be used as material. You can only use this effect of Revolution Synchron once per turn. If you control a level 7 or higher synchro monster while this card is in your graveyard, you can send the top card of your deck to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon this card. Also, its level becomes 1. You can only use the effect of Revolution Synchron once per duel. Okay, so immediately as a Code Talker player, I read that first effect and thought, microcoder, because they function exactly the same. You can use it from your hand as synchro material, and I think that that's so cool. I love that we get that for synchros now. Its second effect is also pretty powerful, as you can bring it back from the grave by milling the top card of your deck to the grave to have it come back as a level 1 monster. I understand why this would be a once per duel effect, because that can enable some pretty insane plays if it was even once per turn. I love this little guy. And as if the 5D's love wasn't strong enough already, we now have the Crimson Dragon itself, now sporting its own beautiful synchro card. This is a level 12 light attribute dragon synchro with 0 attack and 0 defense, and its effect reads, if this card is special summoned, you can add one spell or trap that mentions Crimson Dragon from your deck to your hand. Quick effect, you can target one level 7 or higher synchro monster on the field except Crimson Dragon and return this card to the extra deck, and if you do, special summon one dragon synchro monster from your extra deck with the same level as the targeted monster. This is treated as a synchro summon. You can only use each effect of Crimson Dragon once per turn. First of all, I have to say that after all of this time, it's great to finally have the original dragon that led the other sign of dragons before as an actual card now. The conditions of summoning this monster are not only very simple, with it only requiring one tuner and one non-tuner monster, but its second effect is pretty crazy. By targeting a level 7 or higher synchro you already control, you can tag this card back to the extra deck to summon another dragon synchro with the same level as the one you targeted already. This card enables some pretty hectic plays, and I can already see it being used in a number of different synchro based decks to cheat out some pretty powerful monsters and combos. I still can't believe that we're only getting the actual Crimson Dragon card now, 15 years after the original debut of Yu-Gi-Oh 5Ds, but still, it's great to finally have this card available now. As a huge 5Ds fan, this card is a must in your collection. Let's move to our final monster now and look at our new Big Boss Stardust evolution, Cosmic Quasar Dragon. This card is a Titan. Boasting a mighty 4K attack and 4K defense, this light attribute Dragon Synchro is a whole unit on its own. Requiring 1 Tuner Synchro monster plus 2 non-Tuner Synchro monsters, this effect reads, must first be Synchro summoned with the above Synchro materials. Once per turn, you can target face-up cards on the field up to the number of monsters used as Synchro material for this card plus 1, negate their effects. This effect's activation and effect cannot be negated. This is a quick effect, by the way. You can banish this Synchro summon card, special summon 1 Dragon Synchro monster from your extra deck that lists 2 or more non-Tuner Synchro monsters as material. This is treated as a Synchro summon. Wow, okay, so let me start by saying that this card is absolutely gorgeous in its art. This card is also essentially a power crept version of the original Big Boss Shooting Quasar Dragon with a summoning requirement that's equally as challenging but well worth the payoff. So, similar to the original Shooting Quasar, you can negate face-up cards on the field up to the number of monsters that you use as Synchro material to get it out, plus 1. That's pretty crazy enough already because there's so many ways you can material spam to get it out. So having a negate for each material used is amazing. But it gets even crazier by allowing you to banish it as a quick effect so you can special out another Dragon Synchro from your extra deck that also lists 2 or more non-Tuner Synchros as material, which is also treated as a Synchro summon. So you can even summon the original Shooting Quasar from this effect, and that is just awesome. I love this card so much. I do think the original Shooting Quasar looks better from an aesthetic point of view, but this monster just ups it to another level in both design and effect. So that's it in terms of the monsters that we're getting. However, with new monsters come new spells and traps, and Duelist Nexus is giving us exactly what we need to maintain this support. Let's take a look at the new Synchro spells and traps that we're getting. First up is Synchro Overtop, a normal spell that reads, target any number of level 7 or 8 Dragon Synchro monsters in your graveyard, special summon them in defense position, but their levels become 1 and their effects are negated. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn, except Synchro monsters. When a Synchro monster you control is destroyed by battle, you can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon 1 Crimson Dragon from your extra deck. You can only use each effect of Synchro Overtop once per turn. So again, if you're a 5Ds fan, you already know that this card is a reference to the anime and you know exactly what it's referencing. I find this card so cool because of that and how it directly reflects in its first effect by allowing you to target any number of level 7 or 8 Dragon Synchro monsters in your graveyard, special summon them in defense position with the only condition being that they all become level 1 monsters with their effects negated. When a Synchro monster you control is destroyed, this card can be banished to special summon the Crimson Dragon itself straight from your extra deck, which is awesome. This card can also be searched by the Crimson Dragon's effect as it's mentioned directly in this card. And just to add on really quick, I also really love how this effect is shown through the card art, which is a direct reference to the anime as well, showing all of the Signer Dragons minus Stardust Dragon because if you know, you know. Moving in next is Synchro World, the new field spell that reads, each time a monster is synchro summoned, place 2 signal counters on this card. You can remove 4, 7, or 10 signal counters from your field to activate one of these effects. If you remove 4, you can increase or reduce the level of one face-up monster you control by 1. If you remove 7, special summon 1 tuner from your graveyard. And if you remove 10, special summon 1 synchro monster from your graveyard. If this card in its owner's control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon 1 Crimson Dragon from your extra deck. Once again, I love that this references the anime directly with the whole speed counters thing from 5Ds. I think that's pretty neat. And the different signal counter effects are also very nice in what they allow you to do. But I also find it crazy that if this card is destroyed by an opponent's card effect at any point, you can just special summon the Crimson Dragon directly from your extra deck. Like, okay. And with the things that that card already enables you to do, boy, can you expect to see some nice synchro strats developed over time. Also, this card can be searched from the Crimson Dragon's effect, so that's pretty cool too. And lastly, we have our only trap card in the selection, and that's Scrap Iron Idol, a normal trap card that reads, target one of your level 7 or 8 Dragon Synchro monsters that is banished or in your graveyard, special summon it, but return it to the extra deck during the end phase. Also, after that, set this card face down instead of sending it to the graveyard. If this set card in its owner's control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon 1 Crimson Dragon from your extra deck. You can only use each effect of Scrap Iron Idol once per turn. So yeah, this is a revised version of the original Scrap Iron Scarecrow that was used by Yusei, except this time now having a nice effect to work with your synchros. And just like the original Scarecrow, you can set it back face down after it's used. And again, this card lets you just straight summon the Crimson Dragon if it's destroyed by an opponent's card effect, and it can also be searched directly from the Crimson Dragon's effect. And that's the list for synchros. I love that this set is just a massive love letter to the original 5Ds anime, which you should absolutely watch if you haven't already. I've screened about it so much on my channels before, but Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds is my all-time favorite anime series of all of them, and seeing all the 5Ds love reflect in this set is just so amazing. I can't wait until these cards are in our hands and to speed to the stars again. Very excited. I also can't wait for 10 years for these cards to finally come to Master Duel 2. Before we move on to the other things that Duelist Nexus is also bringing us, I think now is also a good time to make mention of the newest upcoming structure deck, the Crimson King, or Pulse of the King as it's known in the OCG, that's featuring cards and strategies from Jack Atlas from the 5Ds anime. We're seeing a number of resonated cards being included in this deck, as well as the full arsenal of Jack's Red Dragon Archfiend monsters such as Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, Red Nova Dragon, and Red Supernova Dragon, as well as both Red Dragon Archfiend Bane and King Bane. All of this is being topped with the brand new Scar Red Dragon Archfiend, which is the new poster monster for the structure deck. All of this will be able to be upgraded nicely with the new support that we're already getting from Duelist Nexus. Now, beyond the world of Synchro, Duelist Nexus is dropping some nice support for some other existing archetypes as mentioned before. A few that I want to take a look at are the new Unchained cards. Unchained is an archetype that I took a liking to when I returned to Yu-Gi-Oh! Several years ago alongside Code Talkers and Fire Fists. I was learning things back then, okay? Don't ask. Unchained is a strategy that focuses on destruction to trigger effects of their various different cards, as well as utilizes your opponent's monsters as link materials to link summon. A lot of their cards also have some crazy floating effects once they leave the field, which is exactly what we're continuing to see with the new support cards in both Unchained Soul of Sharvara and Unchained Soul of Shyama. Starting with Sharvara, this card lets you target one Fiend monster or one set card that you control. Destroy it, and if you do, you can special summon this card. This is a quick effect. Also, while it's face up in the monster zone, you can't special summon monsters except Fiend monsters. And if this card is sent to the grave, you can set one Unchained spell or trap directly from your deck. This is a once per turn effect. Similarly, Shyama reads, you can target one card you control, destroy it, then you can destroy one spell or trap on the field. If this card is in your graveyard, you can target one Fiend monster or one set card that you control, destroy it. And if you do, special summon this card but place it on the bottom of the deck when it leaves the field. You can only use each effect of Unchained Soul Shyama once per turn. Additionally, this is all being led by the new Link to Unchained monster with Unchained Soul King Yama, who lets you add an Unchained monster from your deck or grave to your hand. If a card you control is destroyed by battle or card effect while this card is in your grave, you can banish this card and special summon one Fiend monster from your hand or grave. Then you can destroy one card you control. This is also a once per turn effect. I really love seeing this for the archetype. It adds on to the powerful strategy that's already been established with Unchained's powerful destruction capabilities to fuel your plays. Again, this is an archetype that I took a real liking to when I first got back into Yu-Gi-Oh! Several years ago, but I've always felt like it's still a little unfinished as it was used more as an engine in other hybrid decks rather than on its own. Having these new cards does make it feel a little more well-rounded now. A few other archetypes that are worth mentioning are both Infernoble Knights and Ottergeist, a powerful trap-based deck. Ottergeist is an archetype that I wanted to jump into for quite some time, but never found myself taking the lead properly. The new support, however, may just change that for me. And Infernoble Knights are looking pretty nice too. To go on, Duelist Nexus is marking the beginning of a new world with the debut of a brand new TCG exclusive archetype, Testina. Not much is known about this archetype or cards just yet, but it's looking like they'll have some very expansive lore as more time passes on. And finally, for the first time in several years since the introduction of my now favorite typing, Cybers, we are getting a whole brand new typing to the game in the form of the Illusionist card typing. These monsters cannot be destroyed by monsters they battle, and vice versa. The monsters battling Illusionist types also cannot be destroyed by battle. They can still inflict battle damage like normal, but it's being heavily implied that they can still do damage in other crazy ways. ease. The new Chimera support that we're also receiving in the set is supposed to showcase how these illusionist monsters can be utilized to their fullest, and I cannot wait to see how they develop over time. Cyberstorm Access marked the end of an era of the Vrain's Age, which brought us some of the most impactful sets that we've ever seen in the game, such as Burst of Destiny, Power of the Elements, and Darkwing Blast. Some would say it also brought us some pretty mid sets, but hey, you get that in every different series. Series 11 had a very strong second half, however, and closed out strong with Cyberstorm Access. Duelist Nexus will be the first set in a whole new series of boosters that will change the game for sure. They're already starting off very strong with it by giving us some amazing support for various legacy archetypes, and we can expect to see this continued throughout. Duelist Nexus releases in just a number of weeks, and I'll definitely be there day one to take a look at everything new. Thank you for watching this coverage of the new set. I hope you guys also enjoy Duelist Nexus as much as I do, and I will see you guys in the duel arena.